Hello everyone, welcome to the Sept of Shadows by Firelight. Tonight we will be continuing our play of Alan Wake. Oh, just a quick second, something's going on the Discord. Ooh, I think that our friend Cyber has automated the system where it automatically posts when I go online or something like that. Seems to take a few minutes though, but we're seeing it, so that's pretty cool. Speaking of Discord, if you haven't joined us yet, here's a link. This is where to go if you want to keep up with us here on the channel. There's also a bunch of other content creators in there that we're all just kind of gathered in the same spot. You got folks doing some cool Glyphs. You've got folks doing some cool podcasts. The Werewolf podcast, for example, by Josh Heath is, of course, they have their own thing, but they're also there with us. So there's a lot going on over there. Bunch of cool folks. And as for me, I've streamlined essentially all of the places where I update people. I used to have a Facebook page, a Facebook conversation, a couple of people I poked on personally on Discord, and a bunch of other different places on Discord. And I've just finally said, well, you know, everyone, if you want to know if I'm going to be on tonight or not, just go there. It's the one place where I now update people, letting them know if there won't be a stream, so I don't have to do it in 12 different places. So if you haven't joined us yet, please do. You won't regret it. It's really a cool community, and it is the only place now where I update people and let them know what's going on and whether or not I'll be online. Speaking of what's going on, not a lot. So tonight I expect that we'll be starting the game pretty quick. The one thing I wanted to quickly discuss essentially is the lore videos. I'm a bit behind on where I want it to be, because last week I was on vacation and I thought I would have a lot more episodes already edited at this point in time. But essentially what happened is I choked. I needed time to recharge my batteries, essentially, because I was really short on spoons. So the last couple of days I did barely anything. However, there is one episode, it exists. There is one episode that is completely finished right now. It's on my computer. Sorry. The good news, however, from there is that making that episode it's the hard one, right? Because I have to choose my music, I have to choose my art style, I have to make all of these decisions that take time and trial and error. And now it's all done. So next episodes will mostly be adapting my template to whatever new voice bits I have to put there. So the rest should go pretty quickly. I intend to do a bunch of them tomorrow. So in the next few weeks, I should be completely done, and I will let you know. About Psychonauts, good question. I'm loving it so far. Quite frankly, it's a worthy successor of the original. If you played the original, it's a no-brainer. You're going to enjoy the sequel. It's just as good. It's the same thing, but more. Which can be a problem in some certain cases. Some games need to evolve, right? But Psychonauts is, I don't know now, but at least 15 years old, and there's nothing else quite like it. So it doesn't feel like a rehash. It feels like putting on a comfy pair of slippers again. It's good to be back, essentially. It's a great formula, and I'm really loving it. It's hilarious in all the right ways. I don't want to overpraise it, because I don't want you to put your expectations way too high. It's a great game. It's a good game. It's not necessarily going to be a top 5 forever game. It's not, for example, Horizon. It doesn't have that great of a background or lore, although there's significantly more this time around than there was in the original. I feel like there's a bit more depth this time around. But it's fun. It's just fun. Gameplay is smooth and sharp. The level design is really imaginative. Less in terms of what you can do, because you have a pretty classic move set. It's disguised essentially as different mental powers, but it's essentially, you know, short range, long range in terms of combat. You can put stuff on fire, or you can hook shot to different things, but it's flavored into the universe of Psychonauts. Like, you're not hooking on random hooks, you're hooking into a chain of thoughts. So it's not revolutionary in any way, but it's very imaginative. It's a very different frame than what we're used to, and it's visually extremely cool. Like, you're not just running around in a forest or whatever. Not to diss on Alan Wake. Alan Wake is amazing, but like, it's not, for example, because it's a platformer, so it's not like Sonic and you're just in some hills with some pinecone trees and loops or whatever. It's unique. Every level are completely unique, because every level you're in some different person's mind, and there are going to be some pervasive theme throughout each of these levels that you just can't see anywhere else. Like, there's a level that's all about hair. Like, you're going to a hairdresser's mind, and it's all about hair. There's hair everywhere, and that's the theme of it. And there are also double entendres and deeper psychological meanings to a lot of the elements you're going to find there. If you read between the lines, it's not super subtle, so you should get most of it from what I've seen so far. Like, I don't feel like I've missed a lot of the double meaning or the psychological. Like, you feel like you're experiencing something, but based on the reaction of the person whose mind you're into, you realize that things aren't quite the same. He's not necessarily seeing the same thing you are, for example. And if you know the background of that person, you understand that everything you're doing is an imagery, and it's not what you're actually doing, and that kind of thing. But it's pretty clear, and it's very awesome. I'm having a lot of fun. I would say maybe 3/4 of the way through, maybe halfway through, and it's a blast. It's just a blast. Another game that's a blast, though, is Alan Wake. And I have been dying to keep playing since last week, so I think I will get right on that. However, I'm always struggling with temperature in my office, so give me a quick second to just get things a bit lower, because it's ridiculously warm right now. And I will be right there, ready to start. If anyone wants to discuss anything else, have any questions about anything, just poke. I'll quickly get around to answering before I boot up the game. Well, the game's already booted, but you know what I mean. All right. Okay, let's do this. I hope everyone can hear okay. I'm having a pretty bad mental health day, so I don't know how long it will last, but here to support. I certainly hear that, and I appreciate that. That said, if you need a break, if you need to stop, if you need anything, just go for it, man. Your mental health is definitely way more important than watching me play Alan Wake. Do what you need to do, man. On our end, we're going to try something today. I'm just going to try and continue a game, and I hope it's going to automatically play the recap video. If it doesn't, I'll quit, and then I'll go here on extras. I saw in playback, cinematics, I can't Sorry, my voice. I lost my voice for a second. I can start that, and I can start it manually, is what I'm saying. However, we don't need to. Mental health squid. My girlfriend usually uses that squid, so I'm just I thought my girlfriend was watching, which she never does. She's playing another game right now. Anyway, so point is, if it doesn't play, I can force the game to show it for us. I'm just hoping it will do it automatically. So let's try this. FYI, I completely forgot the controls, so bear with me when we start. We're probably going to get whacked. We finished chapter 1, and we are early in chapter 2. Yes, okay, we're down here. Okay, but it didn't boot the video. That's a problem. Quit to menu. And let's try from here. Cinematics, episode 2. Yes, exactly. Oh, I see what you mean. Right. I see what you mean. Apparently that is indeed how it works. Yes. So don't worry about it. We're just going to play that video and explain what else we've seen since then.
Previously on Alan Wake, I came to Bright Falls with my wife, Alice.
Thank you for coming here with me. I thought maybe you could write here.
I don't want to hear it. God damn it, Alice.
Now, she's missing.
Alice? Alice?
I woke up behind the wheel of a crashed car. I'm missing a week. I was attacked by shadowy men straight from a nightmare.
And from
the sheriff took me to the lake Alice and I had stayed at. But the cabin had disappeared.
Okay, yeah, that's fairly good recap. It's missing a couple of things. Our wife has a phobia of the dark, and the clicker scene here introduces the notion that when Alan Wake was a kid, actually I'll just boot that video because I think it's important.
I know it's stupid, but it's just, especially when I'm not prepared for it, you know? It gets to me.
I love you.
Tell me a story, writer.
Okay. I used to have these nightmares when I was a kid. The dark really spooked me, too. When it got really bad, my mom gave me this old light switch. She called it the clicker.
The clicker, huh?
Yeah. If I ever got scared of the dark, I could just flip the switch and a magic light would scare the monsters away.
Oh, sure.
Here it is.
Alan.
Maybe it'll help you, too.
Yeah, nice story, writer boy. You made that up right now, didn't you?
No. Seriously.
I love you, even if you are a liar. Thanks for this.
And awkward, decade-old CGI is awkward. So that was essentially a flashback. When the chapter started, we had a flashback of 3 years ago, and power went out, and that started, essentially.
How do you feel, Mr. Wake? Any nausea, disorientation, anything like that? Mr. Wake, how are you feeling?
Didn't expect to have a bit more, but okay.
I'm okay. My head's fine. I had to lie about my headache and memory loss. He'd send me to a hospital for tests. I couldn't leave without Alice.
Very well. I don't think you have a concussion, but you've obviously been through quite a
Actually, I don't
shock.
think we need to see that. So that was back at the police station, which we left eventually because we got a disturbing phone call from people who say they have our wife and we should essentially meet up with them at a place, I think it's called Lover's Peak or something like that, and they will do the exchange. However, the police doesn't want us to go, and Barry, which is our agent, arrives and just kind of fast talks us out of the situation, allowing us to go to the Elderwood parking lot where we argue, and essentially, Alan Wake just decides, well, screw you, I'm going to go get my wife, and we're going to do what the kidnappers are saying. Which is all extremely weird when you think about the fact that our wife isn't kidnapped. She fell into a lake from a cabin that doesn't exist. So who the hell are those kidnappers? I wish they would do something with Alan's voice when he was just narrating, because it can be hard to tell if he's talking or thinking something. Fair enough, especially since there are both in the game. You'll notice, for those who weren't there last week, when we play, he talks a lot. Regularly. Not a lot in the sense that it's a problem, just, I mean, regularly as we play. Alright, so I think this is dodge. It's running, but it's also dodge if we're in a fighting situation. I can, like, whoa.
The vision left me weak. This was no head injury. Rusty, damn.
Rusty, hang on! I'm coming! Please, help me!
Who's Rusty? Didn't we? I don't remember. Cafe, souvenir shop, visitor center.
Anybody? Help me! Help me!
I think Rusty is the one who
Can you hear me?
has
Anyone?
the can.
Please help!
Hello?
Back here. I'm back here.
Mr. Wake?
That would help. I agree.
Oh, hell.
It happened just the way it was on that page. I found. Came true. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must. The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back. Whatever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help me understand what had happened. Shh. Good boy.
I kind of want to ignore the quest for a minute. Anything there? No? Okay. Just because in this game we can find a lot of stuff that are hidden, like thermos, which I think affect the ending if you find all of them, which I'm sure we've missed a couple anyway, so not the end of the world if we don't have
The only way to
all of
make
them
sure
out.
that Rusty was safe was to get the power running and the lights back on.
There are also pages, so I want to try and get the pages because those give lore, and here in the Sept of Shadows by Firelight we're all about lore. Go look at the last page you got real fast. Remind yourself of last week because the last one we got was a quote from Lucas. Okay, let's try that. Ooh, I can switch shoulders. Yay. What was the... Okay, manuscript. No, wait. Let me see. Options. Controls. Key bindings. Show manuscript. F5. Alright, I knew it was somewhere over there, but... What's happening? Wow, okay. I was worried for a second. F5. There's something about Rusty.
Rose knew that Rusty was in love with her, and she liked him too. She liked him a lot. He taught her to dance, and life had certainly taught her the value of a man who was gentle. He treated her well, made her smile, made her feel good. But Rusty wasn't the prince of her dreams, and that tended to underline the unbearable truth. She was no closer to that Hollywood magic than he was.
Okay. Rusty dying.
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his
Yeah,
cage.
that's exactly what he
eyes were
said, you're
wide
right.
with fear and terror. He gasped. Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page.
I mean, it's not exactly how he said it, but close enough, I guess. Alright, alright. That looks like a page. Yes, it is.
The visitor center was sturdy, but the impact turned the front of the building into splinters. Rusty was thrown across the lobby like a rag doll and hit the far wall hard. It didn't hurt until he tried to move and saw his leg bend the wrong way. Felt the broken ribs stabbing him on the inside. Rusty howled in pain and fear, suddenly afraid to die alone.
Well, that ain't good. Is that open
The
up?
gate to Lover's Peak was locked.
Well, until I unlock it. Okay. Oh, yes. Coffee thermos. I have to watch that. I haven't yet. I heard good things, at least when it was just starting. I think I heard eventually that it gets less good, but in the beginning, at the very least, it appears to be very decent. Wait, is that the office? That's probably the office. Okay, wait. That means there's a place here that I haven't gone to yet that I want to. Because I thought this... Oh, those are the bathrooms. Yeah. Okay, good. We've been everywhere. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of enjoying Castle. Like, out of nowhere, I'm just watching Castle. Because friends of mine... Hey, Nox. Hi. Friends of mine's keep telling me that I need to watch Castle because of the... Well, first of all, the actor, because I really love Firefly, and so does Nox. And also because I kept talking about Lucifer, which I really loved as a show, and they kept saying, like, it's the same thing, but it's better. And it's like, sure, fine. And I'm actually enjoying Castle, but it's 8 freaking seasons of Castle, like 20 episodes each. So eventually I'll get around to Lovecraft Country, but it might take a bit. Wake reaches a safe haven of light.
At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my head. Nothing moved in the darkness beyond. For the moment, bathed in the cold light, I was safe.
All right. Personally, not a huge fan, as in the sense that I like it. Just, you know, it's a cool thing that tends to give a really good setting to whole kinds of books and movies, but I just don't know it. Like, I'm not super into, like, I've read a couple of books, I played a lot of games, but that's about it. Like, I've been exposed to the setting more than I have consumed it, I guess. Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. Like, I like games where playing strategically is rewarding, right? So I try to preserve ammo and preserve batteries, but in between chapters, it appears like this gets reset, because we were filled with both when we ended the chapter. That does not bode well. There's a freaking axe.
I was too late. Someone had destroyed the circuit breaker. There was no way to get the lights back on.
Rusty!
Yeah, I would say so. Especially, I feel like when you get into the worm stuff.
The ground was covered with oily patches that looked like liquid darkness.
Some of the worm stuff is very Cthulhu. The Malfeans, more specifically. It's their own thing, but the influence is definitely there.
Hunters need hunting licenses.
Wrong button. It's so arcane. That's fine.
Something had torn a mammoth-sized hole in the wall.
Well, that's one way of gaining access beyond the gate.
Please don't feed the animals.
Because you can't
Fishing
really
is only
aim your
permitted for those prisoners who purchase a park fishing license.
because your aiming is where your flashlight goes to. Like, for example, if I was to shoot now, I would shoot the middle of the fence, right? So, but if you're aiming like at some random places and moving quickly, especially with depth, you see like it jumps from the rock to far away on the back there. So it's hard to have a clear reference in the middle of a fight when you're moving a lot as to where exactly you're going to be shooting.
Obey!
Kill that guy who read up in the chat talking about more TV shows, which...
Rusty?
Whoa!
Rusty, no!
Never approach closer than 100 yards. Two bears and wolves never approach any other wildlife closer than 25 yards.
Pets must be leashed.
At all times,
Never leave your pet.
head unattended.
It is
Against the law.
to remove any
Natural objects
or historical artifacts from the park.
grounds.
This includes even
Rocks.
you may
Find along the river.
or even cemeteries.
Did I just get XP? 10 XP from what? There's no XP in this game. Does the Epic Store give XP now? Yeah. Okay. Ooh, infinite ammo. Great. Great, great. Can I get infinite light now? Okay, let me catch up with chat because I'm just like way behind. Hype for the last episode of The Expanse releasing this Friday. I'll finally be able to watch season 6. Yes. I watched, I think, 2 episodes of the season and then kind of forgot that it was coming out. But yes, I'm looking forward to it as well. I was a huge fan of seasons 1 to 4. I really loved the first 4 episodes of season 5 and then wondered what the fuck happened with the rest of the season because they were just, like, from episode, I think, 5 to, like, 8, nothing happened, like, at all. And then in the last episode, oh, stuff happens again. So season 5 is really iffy for me. However, 1 to 4 is just perfect. It's just amazing show. So I'm really looking forward to season 6. Just blowing it out of the water and just finishing the show with all the fanfare and all the bang that it deserves. Like it's just a really damn good show. Yeah, Bang. Excellent. We'll get another season 2 so we can explore the Laconia stuff more. Yeah, unfortunately, it's been said that season 6 is going to be the last one. I hope they wrap it up in a manner that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a spin-off eventually, or maybe eventually we'll get a like Star Wars did, for example, with I think it was Clone War. We got a final season like a decade afterwards, maybe. But at least for now, they've been saying that this would be the end. Weaver also less of self and becoming the collective is part of. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, well, I guess they've released. There's that. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. But yes, if you haven't watched The Expanse, it's really good. It's one of the... Okay, I guess we can cover that concept. It's one of the shows that understands that a mystery cannot remain a mystery if you explain it all. And The Expanse understands that. Like, for starters, it's a great setting. It's got a lot of politics in it, and all of that is good, and all the characters are good. Like, this is a given. Like, I'm not going to go there because a lot of shows do that right. But a lot of shows don't understand how to build a mystery correctly. And that is one thing that I feel The Expanse nailed really well. For example, 4400, the original run. First season is amazing because you have no idea what's happening. Just like in this game, right? There's a mystery to uncover, and it's interesting until you figure things out. And in the last episode of season 1 of 4400, they reveal it. Here's the secret to what's been happening. And then we have nothing else to say for the other 4 seasons. So we're just going on adventures with these characters. And we don't care anymore. Because we were invested in the mystery, and now the mystery's gone. Some shows manage to build other mysteries through it, or manage to reinvent themselves. It's not impossible to keep going after your mystery's been solved. It's harder, but you absolutely can do it, and some shows have done it well. An example is actually The Expanse. By season 3, you know a lot about this mystery and this let's say alien artifact, and I'm not going to go any further than that because you haven't watched it. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you know a lot of what you need to know about this, and at this point, it's okay for the show to move on more into the politics and all of that, because by this point you're completely invested in the universe and these characters, and you want to see what happens next. So you need both, essentially. Like, the setting, the politics of it and the characters of it is really well done and is strong enough to hold on its own, so that when the mystery is kind of done as well, you can continue on the other part, and the show remains really good anyway. Still, they didn't just go, here's everything you need to know about this thing at the end of the season 1. It uncovered it layer by layer through at least 3 seasons worth of learning about things and getting like freaked out about this scary alien shit that's going on. And it's, yeah, I'm not going to say more than that, but point is, The Expanse is amazing, and Amos is just the best. Like, that's it. That's the tweet. Amos is amazing. He's just the best. If you don't like Amos, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just, he's just a guy. And yet, probably the most terrifying character I've ever seen in a TV show. And he's one of the good guys. It's just, whenever someone is trying to intimidate Amos just needs like 2 words to turn it around, and I completely believe that this other guy is shitting his pants. Amos is just so well written and genuinely terrifying when he wants to be. It's just wow. yeah, Lost is an example of how to have a mystery and reveal things, then retcon. Yeah, Lost was great for a couple of seasons and then just lost itself in its own lore. I'm not a huge fan of Lost, unfortunately, just because of the last couple of seasons, especially the last one specifically. But that's something J.J. Abrams does in a lot of his TV shows, actually. He builds stuff, and when he gets to the last season, because he did the same thing with, what was the other show? Fringe. You build stuff throughout the season, and then when the last season comes around, the real story starts. Everything you knew before kind of counts, but not really. And it's just a whole new thing. It's some elements come back, sure, but they're not really relevant. And most of these shows could have just started with their final seasons, and you would have ended up with the same result. Yeah. Amos was one of my Glasswalker Ragabash characters. Oh shit, that must have been a badass Ragabash. Westworld, okay, mystery revealed. Oh, we got another season. Let's reveal ourselves and completely lose this part. I'm more or less agreeing with that. Westworld, season 1, sure. I still loved season 2. I preferred season 2 to season 1. Not because of the mystery, just because of the setting, I guess. I liked exploring. I can't say because that would be a spoiler, but season 2 was its own beast, and it was an interesting beast on its own. But season 3, what the hell? What are you even doing? It's not Westworld anymore. Like, I get how thematically we're exploring some of the things, but it didn't feel like Westworld anymore. It felt like a completely different setting with entirely different characters. So yeah, they lost me there completely. Lost was painful. Never could finish it. First season was great and went downhill real fast. They tried to stretch a mystery for way too long without giving anything. Yep, that's yeah. It's Lost didn't specifically reveal the mystery. It revealed snippets each season, but they were usually completely different mysteries, completely different elements that were like, you've got this mystery, we're going to explore it and eventually not really reveal anything, and we're going to put another mystery on top of it, and we're going to explore that until we put another mystery on top of it, and we're going to explore that, and we never really get anywhere with any of it. Eventually, sure, you get to know everything, but by then you're no longer interested because you've got this new candy that's the whole new mystery there, and it just keeps going and going and going until eventually you get again to the last season where, well, none of it matters. Especially with the ending itself. But anyway, that's something else. Yeah, no, I agree. Season 3 just completely lost the spark entirely. Westworld Season 1 and 2, if you haven't watched it, it's really worth it. I loved those 2 seasons to bits, especially Season 2. You can stop there. Consider Westworld finished with Season 2. There is no reason to watch Season 3. That's my take from it. If you loved it, by the way, it's okay. We don't have to love the same things. Anyone watching this disagreeing with me, that's fine. You don't need to write me an email or anything. I'm happy for you, actually. Like, if you weren't disappointed with the season, yay, save point, then, I mean, it's just, yay, power to you. Ooh, kidnappers.
What the hell was that? I saw it from the window.
Nope, that's Barry.
I saw something.
Forget about it, Barry. It's just me going crazy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. You're not crazy. I wish you were crazy, but you're not crazy. Ow, be careful.
Stay in the cabin. Don't open the door for anyone. I mean it.
Right, and of course I started. Sorry, back on TV shows. We started today because we finished Witcher season 2, which was also a disappointment to me. Probably just because I really, really loved season 1. I guess just comparing it with season 2 was let down. I don't think it's bad per se. It was just really nowhere near as good as season 1. It also did not respect the source material like at all. Like season 1 made a really sincere effort to respect it. Like there were changes, but okay changes. Season 2 just did whatever the hell it wanted with the source material, like entirely from start to finish. I don't know what happened there. I don't think they changed showrunners. I have no idea what happened, but for me, like, I'm not even a huge fan. Like, I haven't read all of the books. I read some of the books. I just know many people who really love Witcher, and I've sent lore my way over time, and I'm just like, watching season 2, it feels like a train wreck. Like, what the fuck happened? You had this nice train. It was really nice. It was cool. It was a bright, shining train, chromed and everything. Why did you ram it into a wall? But that's just my take from it, as someone who cares about source material. But yeah, we started Book of Boba Fett today. I'm not sure I have an opinion yet. Just nothing happens in the first episode. It's kind of there. So we'll see where that goes. I wish I could enjoy season 3. I think if it was its own thing, I would have loved it. But it isn't. Agreed. Yes. That's the problem. These are the characters I have been rooting for and against. Like, they aren't even the same characters anymore. Yeah, and they're barely in it. It feels like they're barely in it. That, like, most of them don't come back anyway. I think 3 characters from previous seasons are there. Sure, they're the main characters, but they feel completely different and bring... Yeah, no, it's... No. No, there's... No, there are more characters. I won't go into too many details, but one character does actually reconnect with 2 more. So there are like 5 characters from previous seasons. There's a guy who gets exploded. It was entertaining enough for me. And which show? Oh, you mean Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, I think there was a guy who get exploded. Yeah, I suppose. That was semi-entertaining. Again, to be clear, I didn't dislike it. I think it feels like they're taking time to slowly place their setting, which is good, and it's something you could do. It's okay to sacrifice quote unquote an episode or 2 to set up your mood, set up your setting, I guess, like Boba Fett's current setting, taking the power on Tatooine. It's perfectly fine if it eventually picks up. I'm okay with it completely. It's just hard to gauge a season based on that one episode where essentially nothing happens.
In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young and forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting for her to tell him to take it off. Now she never would.
That's weird. You have a crush on a girl and you expect her to tell you to stop wearing your wedding ring. Like, you're giving her mixed messages, buddy. Book of Boba to me so far is, I'm looking for how is Boba this epic person we've heard so much about, and we have yet to see that epic person yet. Because we got setting and getting stars, setting always put stars. Well, yeah, and I mean, to be fair, they're doing a great job of it. Like, they've stopped focusing on the Skywalkers, which to me were never particularly interesting, or at least not interestingly done. Like, in retrospect, I'm not a fan of any of the Star Wars movie, but all the shows have been bloody fantastic. And I include in there Clone Wars, Rebel, all of that, and now Mando. Like season 1 was iffy, but season 2 was really good. So I'm really interested in seeing where they're going, and I'm definitely willing to give them, you know, a lot of rope with this new show, and they're building the universe more interestingly to me than what the movies did. I guess I'm getting a bit of a feel of how people who were reading the novels and getting the extended universe got a feel, like got away from the Skywalkers and got to unravel this whole entire universe of cool characters and cool settings that the movies barely touch. The movies are all about flashing lights, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I think the shows are doing a great job of giving everyone who aren't, you know, avid readers or consumers of this extended universe a taste of what that universe actually is. Like we hear and hear about Boba being this epic person. We finally get him as a main character, and he's still just being said to be epic, and they still haven't shown it. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Star Wars has a bit of an issue with power levels of their characters. It's very unstable. They keep saying, yeah, Boba is awesome, Boba this, and Django is awesome, and Django that, but, I mean, clones and stormtroopers can't eat shit, ever, and they're all clones of Django Fett. So, I mean, like, there's even a line in, I think it's the original Star Wars, so Episode 4, where someone says, only Imperial stormtroopers could have made that shot, or something like that, implying that their aim is amazing. And now, you know, the fact that they can't ever hit anything is a meme because they're just really bad. So Star Wars is great at telling you someone's amazing and never actually paying off on that, ever, except Darth Vader. Specifically, the corridor scene in Rogue One. I'm not a huge fan of Rogue One, although it's probably the best of all of the Star Wars movie, like easily, I think. But that corridor scene finally was like, there he is. That's Darth Vader. That is the one scene that I believe he's the badass that he's supposed to be, that everyone's saying he is, that he's the best Force user that's ever been known, or something like that. And I know that there are other betters, and just depending on who you talk to and when you talk to people, I guess, like Vader was top, and then there's this apprentice that can do way more in the video games, because obviously, you know, as you create more content, eventually you want to create more cool people, cooler people, more powerful people, or whatever. Exactly. Completely agreed with Void. That corridor scene is the best movie Star Wars scene to ever get shot. Easily. Because it feels like finally we're seeing something represented the way they're trying to convince us that it is. Like, it's actually as it should be. And everything else is just like, yeah, he's decent, I guess. Oh, no, he's amazing. I'm telling you, he's amazing. Okay, but nothing he ever did was awesome. Whatever. Let me just get back to what Turtle was saying, because I missed a bit there. I mean, the EU was pretty Skywalkers too. Yes, but there were other things. Not that I've read it, to be completely fair, but from what I've heard and people have told me, yes, it was still very Skywalker focused, but at least we saw more of the universe, considerably more than the movies did. All the movies kind of like drag on Tatooine and Coruscant and just move between one or the other. And sometimes we see this random planet we'll never see again or talk about again, and we'll never really develop any of their cultures or anything. Clones had pretty good aim. They kill most of the Jedi. Yeah. Yes, but no. True. However, as soon as they're trying to shoot like a main character, like they're just insanely bad. They're only good if they're killing someone off screen, or if the narrator said, yeah, and now all the Jedis die. Then come on, there's no way so many of those Jedi got shot in the back so easily. When we've seen Jedi do all kinds of crap throughout many movies that just make it extremely hard to believe. I think there's been some retcons somewhere I've heard about that I completely forgot about that make the Order make a little bit more sense, that kind of explain why they actually managed to kill them. I forget what that explanation was, but let's be honest. No. No. I don't believe that a couple of stormtroopers could at the same time kill all the Jedi. No, that didn't happen. Anyway. So Lover's Peak, somewhere over there. We got a save point. I just want to go back here a little bit in case there's a page or... No, we're good. Fair. Same armor, different people. Agreed. Well, similar armor, different people. However, they're treated essentially as the same. Like, as soon as it's a main character, they can't aim for shit. I mean, that's a... that's a good point, I guess, to be fair. If we pay attention to, for example, Clone Wars, some clones were definitely able to actually get shit done.
Lover's Peak was
Fair
at the far
point.
end of the nature trail.
Wait, is that... Okay, no, this is a secrets thing. Okay. And I guess Lover's Peak is over there. Okay, yeah. No, y'all make a good point. They're definitely distinct. And you're right, there were several moments where clones were actually competent. And they're cloned by... They're clones of a theoretically, at the very least, really good Mandalorian. No, you have a good point. I guess I'm still referring to... Like, my frame of reference somehow is still the movies. Despite the fact that I watched all the shows where the clones actually do good stuff. Probably it's just because it happens in one of the movies, and therefore, since mostly we've seen stormtroopers in movies, I equate them to it. But you're absolutely right that there is a distinction, and the distinction is significant, now that I actually take time to think about it. The Bounty Hunter game. Which Bounty Hunter game? That could be interesting. If there's a game where you play Django, it'd be nice to finally, I guess, get a sense of why he's supposed to be that good. I feel like these guys are gonna keep respawning if I stay here too long, so I'm just gonna quickly explore here. Nothing, not even a thermos. Let me... Interesting fact, Janko is just actually a foundling like Mando, but not actually directly a Mandalorian. Oh, interesting. Old GameCube, I think. It's now legend lore, obviously, but still good. Mandalorian are regular humans, no special genes, they just have very distinct culture. I don't think he means they're genetically anything. I think it just means that he wasn't born into their culture. Like Mando was. He was found, hence foundling, but it could be misconstruing his words. Or misunderstanding the lore, potentially. I'm no expert in Star Wars. Page. To clarify, because I don't want misunderstandings there. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just rephrasing what I think Turtle meant.
Nobody in Bright Falls seemed to know where Al was, but Rose, the waitress at the diner, had seen him. From what Barry could tell, Al pretty much fell off the face of the earth when he left the diner. Rose was just the kind of fan that Al hated, but she really tried to help. She was smart too, knew a lot about what was going on in the town, knew a lot about Al, even knew who Barry was. Barry liked her. That was no big surprise. When it came to women, Barry and Al rarely saw eye to eye.
Interesting to know, though, like... It was kind of obvious, but kind of also not. That they're not a race per se, and just, let's say, species, actually. They're not a species per se, and just a culture. I'm gonna try there. I don't know if it's the right place. Okay. It will be a checkpoint at the very least. We like checkpoints. Shotgun ammo! I already had the shotgun, but that's fine. Thank you. Because honestly, in some settings, the difference between human and other species is like almost impossible to see. Or literally impossible to see. God damn it, I'm trying to... There we go. Okay, I was just trying to equip the shotgun and it didn't want to do that. I think it's equipped now, so let's try to... Really? Y'all just gonna spawn right after I've finished the first batch? I dodged out. Why? Oh, it was in a tree. Fine. sorry. Give me a second. Okay. Fighting against your headphones is not what you want to do in a fight like this. Fell by lightning in 1937, this exceptionally tall Rocky Mountain, Douglas fir, blah blah blah, was over 200 years old. According to local legends, it stretched between the stars. After it fell, it was measured to be 66 meters tall, nearly a record length. Okay, I think I know what happened is I moved too far ahead. Like, the next batch are going to be beyond that. Let me see, the moderation tool got kicked. Let me see. But yes, Django and Din Djarin are foundling, and both very badass about it. One of the funniest things to me is that Obi-Wan almost became the king of the Mandalorians, or at least the father of the next ruler. Yeah, that's a nice thing to think about. I do think that being a culture makes them a pretty good antagonist to Jedi, and really hope that it's exploring the High Republic stuff. Fair enough. Okay, I'm just going to allow that to be used. Yeah, that's fair. Anyone able to fuck up Obi-Wan definitely is a badass. I think being in culture makes them a pretty good antagonist. Oh yeah, okay, we said that. I think that them not being genetically different was a new lore thing. Pretty sure they were different in EU. That I would not know, and would 1000% refer to Void's authority on that point. I don't know if you are an expert on Star Wars stuff, either Terraria. I know Void is a big fan and has read a lot of it. So I don't know if it was that way or not before. Not at all an expert on the Star Wars lore. That being said, it wasn't actually put into question about whether or not Django was badass. We were wondering, like, more in terms of Boba himself. Because we keep hearing about how awesome he is and rarely see it. Why are you not dodging when I'm dodging? Now you're dodging when I'm trying to run. That's... yeah. It's fine. Oh shit, no, do not do that. Okay. So as I said, expect me to die a lot. It's a thing that's going to happen. Where's these final thoughts? Wake sees the torch.
I turned the corner, afraid of
Oh,
what the
where
flashlight's
the
beam
extra
might
stuff is.
reveal. Suddenly, a roughly painted symbol of a torch glowed in the light. Behind it, hidden by a rock, sat a battered metal trunk. It was here for a reason. Packed with supplies, batteries, flares, ammo. Things you need to make it through the darkness of the night. Something left behind by someone who knew what I knew, and more.
Yeah, indeed. Still think I should have done massacre difficulty. Yeah, I would still be in the tutorial if I did that. Well, good thing we don't need a phone. Bear alert! Yay! I mean, I saw you, buddy. Just gonna make sure I've got all of my stuff recharged. Okay, so one of the things that is throwing me... No, that's not even what it does. Okay. I thought it was. Never mind. You know what? Really? Whoa. Why? Do I have only a single flare and he reverted back to his... No, I'm supposed to have 2 flares. What the heck happened here? Okay, I know you're in there. What? Ah, that's wrong. There's Stop spawning in my back. What the hell? What do you expect me to do if I can't like fight and people just keep spawning in my back? Okay. I don't know where Lover's Peak is anymore. Thought it was going to be beyond, Oh. No. Through the trees. Okay, here we go. Gonna assume this is locked. Oh, worse than locked. Alright. Okay, let me catch up. So I think I have enough experience to say I think I prefer the mood and themes of Control over this. At least so far. Not to disparage this game, though. Yeah, no, I do too. I really do too. It's no contest between the two games. Control is, to me, at the very least, by far better. This game is just different. Like, and it's one of the things I like, actually. It's like, yes, it's in the same universe, but they're not the same game. They each have their own distinct feel, and they're doing different things. Like, Alan is not a superpowered individual, but the director is. It's a completely different feel. I think not enough games try that, I guess. Not enough series try to give you different feels with different games. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Like, you're limiting your setting if you're keeping it always in the same rote formula, and having several characters having their different storylines and feels to them allows you to expand on your setting in different ways and trying new things that I think is really interesting. Control does this high-powered and yet still horror fantasy, whereas Alan Wake is more of a, I'm just a guy with one gun and limited bullets. And they're both amazing. It's just that Control is so good, y'all. It's so good. Can't wait to actually didn't even read that. This ring was cut from what? The tree this ring was cut from, started growing in 1846, the year the Oregon Treaty was signed. Other notable events marked on the rings: 1853, the Washington Territory was formed. We're not going to read all that. Felled from storm. Okay, so it's the big tree we went through over there. All right, that's interesting. Oh no, not another dead end. Oh no, another dead end. But there was a checkpoint. Wasn't there a checkpoint? Where the heck are we supposed to go? It seems to me that I think having a character with superpowers being a horror setting is struggling to scary and not having powers. Probably I prefer Call of Darkness to Call of Cthulhu. That's a very valid point. Oh, really? Wow. Like, why even have the gate anyway? Yeah, no, I agree. And having the superpowers allows you more variation and allows you to compensate, I guess, certain things. Like, if you're just a very weak guy with a flashlight and a gun, and that's it, you don't become much more powerful. Then only thing you can do to give some variety is create more and more powerful enemies, and eventually you just end up with this. It's mostly the same enemies throughout the entire game, and I think that's, if I remember correctly, we've pretty much seen it all already. I think there are dog-like enemies eventually, but we've mostly already seen the enemies we're going to see. And it's going to keep doing what it's already doing. Like, we're fighting and just boom, someone's in my back, because of course someone spawned in my back. Like, how else are they going to put difficulty into it if I can just easily keep folks at a distance, wait until my flashlight drains their shield, and just then shoot in the face like we've been doing up until this point? It's too easy. So they're using cheap shots, enemies respawn, they spawn quickly, there are 5 or 6 of them, or they just cheap shot behind you and stuff like that. It's limited in what they can do, and I feel like it's a bit of a disservice because I'm not enjoying the fights all that much compared to Control, where all the fights were amazing. Whether or not I won the fight, I was having fun, and it didn't feel like it was all that much of a cheap shot, like I've repeatedly felt throughout this level so far.
Agent Nightingale didn't want to be in Bright Falls. These little communities revolted him, and he didn't like the trees or the coffee. He now knew that impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles. He desperately wanted to turn the car around and just drive until he passed out or ran out of road and booze. But he had a job to do. He had a rider to catch, at any cost.
That would be good. That would be good. I mean, I would expect them to try new tricks for sure in the next game. I'm still gonna like it. I'm still gonna play it, even if it's just a guy with a gun. Like, Doom is just a guy with a gun. It's perfectly fine. But, you know, Doom guy has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. And at least he can take a couple of punch without, you know, dying. He's got some armor. He can keep getting more points, and like he can. What I'm saying is that there's a gauge for your health and there's a gauge for your armor, and you can balance it out through that gauge. But if Alan just kept getting more and more HP, it wouldn't feel realistic very quickly. The main issue, though, I feel, is stamina. He runs out of stamina very quickly. darkness is over. Destroyed bits of the mountain. And the other thing is, I feel like stamina is tied to dodge, which is why sometimes I try to dodge and I just can't because his stamina ran out. And it feels cheap. If all I have to stay alive in this game is a dodge, let me use it.
That flashlight's kid stuff. The flares will keep the bastards away.
You can see them too?
Depending on the game, yeah, for sure.
Come on, we gotta move.
Why?
Because that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, but
Let's move!
I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun. Just keep that light steady on him.
Oh,
It took a moment, but then I recognized him. He'd been on the ferry when I first arrived here with Alice. He knew my name. We were headed in the direction of Lover's Peak. There was no way this was a coincidence. He was the kidnapper.
Come on, Wake. You better keep up. That's what I got for you.
also, he appears to take forever before turning back to where I'm aiming after a dodge. Like, way too many seconds. I'm gonna do it consistently, but sometimes you just like won't get back to aim where I'm aiming after a dodge. They really have it in for me though. Like, why aren't you trying to kill the guy with the gun? It's weird, it's not consistent. Sometimes he turns right back around and does the right
Right
thing.
up these stairs, Wake.
Sometimes he just
Use the flares from the
waits
emergency
forever.
box to hold them off while I get these boards off.
Give me the gun.
Yeah, no can do, Wake.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun!
No time for back talk. Hold them off, damn it. Just a little longer. Scare them off. Get some light on those bastards. That'll keep them off us.
I really have to hold.
Just a little longer. I almost got it. Okay, it's open. Move it or lose it.
I can drop the flare. Okay.
Stop fighting me! Oh, you feeling better now, Wake? All cozy and safe. Better get ready. They'll be on us soon.
Let me just see there's a text there, rather long. Let me refresh my memory. In Legends, the first Mandalorian were a race of people called the Tong, or something like that, who are native to Coruscant, but were exiled from it by the 13 human tribes after the fall of the Infinite Empire. Over their history, they became a mix of many races, as they needed new blood to go to war with. Okay. That sounds like Lover's Peak. That's a terminus.
This is it, Wake. The last stand. There's more flares here. Get ready. We fight them as long as they keep coming.
Give me the goddamn gun! They're coming!
That's not how this goes. Get with the program, Wake.
Like, I wish I could throw the flare at them. It seems like that'd be the way to go.
Like that, boy! Ah! Get some! Yeah, that's right! That's right! Stop moving!
Nope, not even.
That's what I got for you!
Oops, wrong button. Actually, that would have been a better button, like spacebar instead of shift to the... See, I was dodging there. Yeah, nothing happened. To be fair, I was dodging towards him, so there wasn't much the game could have done, but still.
Stop fighting me! Like that, boy! Ah! This is a piece of cake, Wake!
Yeah, sure, no, that's appreciated.
That's right!
Sure. Stop pretending.
That's right! You just keep coming! Got you, boy! See? Nothing to it.
If you say so.
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were gonna say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible once we get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking about? Where's Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her and I'll...
Touch her and all, and it hits him as he says that. Okay. That was a weird scene, but okay. That's kind of sad. I was actually happy not having to handle
No! Come back
guns
here!
as well as
I swear I'll kill
flashlight.
you if you hurt Alice! Do you hear me? Come back here!
Controls are a bit
He had
iffy.
Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
I don't remember them being that iffy on the console though, so maybe eventually I'll consider playing with a remote instead. I'll think about it. Aiming is easier with a mouse, but potentially dodging and all of that will be easier with a controller.
On more than one occasion, Alice had tried to explain to me how it felt to be afraid of the dark. To her, darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, but something more tangible than that. It was something you could touch and feel. Worse than that, it was something with a mind of its own, something malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign, and nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I'd never really understood what she meant. Until now.
Very valid. We're fighting shit that's being essentially possessed by darkness. Am I supposed to go down there? Where else can I go if not there? I mean, fine. Feels high, but okay. Yeah, see, I even hurt myself. Oh, I could have gone. Didn't even see the log. Alright, my bad, my bad. What's up here then? What did we miss? Nothing. Okay. Good. Let's do that. Let's do it. I mean, if you want to keep going, go for it. I'm enjoying the conversation and I'm learning about a cool setting, so, I mean, don't mind me. Fuck.
Rusty had warned me about these traps. It hurt like hell. I was stuck.
Oh, you're kidding me. Again with the flares instead of the gun. Wow. I don't know why I keep doing that. Well, at least, you know, they're making them easy to see. Just had no clue what it was. Till I stepped on it. Felt like something that could be sort of an achievement or something. Can I fight? Thank you. Yeah. Definitely have fewer issues with controls combat. And also level design. I'm no longer looking, by the way, for loot and shit. There's just too many foes. I want to focus on the story. try at least pages if they're obvious, but... Oh, that's a rifle. That should be interesting. Okay. Yeah, like in Control, like controls were tight. There were never really, you know, moments where I felt like the game wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, or things like that. Like I knew what weapons I had equipped at the very least. It wouldn't like constantly shift without any input from me and that kind of thing. Alright, we're gonna go down there. I think that's the continuation. Like, if I lost a battle in Control, I knew why, and it was either my fault or, you know, I hadn't yet learned.
I'd heard the plane fall. It made no sense. It was clear that it had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
It was either because I didn't understand what I was fighting, which made it, you know, part of the fun. I just had to learn how to deal with the enemies, or I was the one who made a mistake for the most part. Okay. Up there. How can it be up there? Let's try going inside. Okay. So... Okay. That is not a thing. How do I get up there? I know that... Oh. The wing snap. Oh. Okay. Fine. Flare gun ammo. Flare gun. See? Shows the flare. Alright. Let me reload everything. There we go. I guess what I'm trying to say with too many words as usual is I didn't fight the interface when I was playing Control. I'm doing that here. To be fair though, I mean, it's a very old game. So, shouldn't be complaining too much about it. Really? You covered that quickly? Okay. And I guess another thing that Control has going for it, I always knew where I was going in Control. This forest is easy to get turned around in. Nope.
Bring your own food can save money.
Go. Bye bye. I have no need to fight you all. Alright. Everyone's still there. I just haven't seen anything going on for a bit. That's good. This one's a bit more of a set piece. Provides us with some much needed reprieve from the fighting, the incessant fighting. Like, I like the concept though. I really like the concept of having in the camera, not the camera, but the flashlight on things before I can kill them. It's a really interesting mechanic. Is this the right way? No, it's a page. Good. Let's read the page. Thanks, Nox, for confirming that I'm still on. I think I've got a few pages without reading them, actually.
In one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw.
Frickin' foreshadowing.
The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff. Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around.
Interesting. Not sure who those guys are, but definitely feels like they might be from the Bureau. The FBC, Federal Bureau of Control. They're implying that they're used to weird, and it's just a matter of what kind of weird. That's really interesting. Knowing how much time there was between both games, it's cool to see that they dropped hints of knowing where they were going with this from the get-go. Unless it was added in the
When Barry
remaster.
saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed, like the channel had been switched without warning. You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified.
Void and Turtle have been silent for a while. I'm thinking maybe Void has been doing some Star Wars research and will come back with... Since I said it was okay that he could, there might be some interesting lore coming our way soon. Okay, that was my own flashlight. Oh, hello. think we're mostly done with the forest, though. Like, the rest of the game has more set pieces like this, more, places to explore than just being lost in confusingly designed woods. Which is not a bad thing, by the way. Darkness wears her face. Interesting.
Be aware of Widowmakers.
Okay, flares are damn useful against those guys. Flares are my friends. But I do not need the hunting rifle. Like, I'm glad I have it, but I'd rather have my gun. Then again, the hunting rifle does have a few more bullets. Because the problem with the shotgun is that it could only, it was a double-barrel shotgun. It only could hold 2 bullets, and that was nowhere near enough for me to hold my own. At least the rifle has 4. Maybe that can be enough. Still gonna try prioritizing the pistol. As long as they're just normal random dudes like those. Oh, those are big dudes. Two big dudes. 1 flare. Satisfied with that outcome. Full of both. And how much you want to bet chapter ends real soon? That's cool. As we all know, in the video game, avoid falling trees.
Coding is a hazardous occupation.
Oh, there it is. I'm gonna flare you. I'm sorry. There we go. Now that's a good use of the hunting rifle. Any pages? Don't see any. I'm not going to go too far because I don't want more folks to spawn. That'll be enough for me.
Barry?
Ow! The porch is covered with birds. They've got all Hitchcock on me.
Stay out of sight. I'm on my way. Don't open the door.
What am I, crazy?
Stay hidden. I'll be there soon. Just make sure you keep the lights on.
Bird was by.
I still had to reach Barry at the cabin, but at least I was out of the woods.
Okay. Are we? No.
have to get the car from the locked garage. It would get me back to Barry faster, and the headlights were a welcome bonus.
Indeed. Guess I'm gonna have to survive exploring whatever that building is. Well, there's a page, so that's an interesting start. What do we have?
The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it, but it felt all wrong. Call it instinct, his posture, the way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the darkness beyond.
Guess we know what's gonna happen soon. Bathrooms and horror video games. Those always end well.
I had to find the key to the garage.
A story is not a machine that does what you tell it. A story is a beast with a life of its own. You can create it, shape it, but as the story grows, it starts wanting things of its own. Change one thing and you set off a chain reaction of events that spreads through the whole thing. The characters have to be true to themselves. The events need to follow a logic that fits the story. A single flaw and the magic is gone. The story dies. Alice dies.
You can learn about nature and yourself.
Wasn't particularly scared of that. I was convinced it was gonna happen. Okay. Really? Nothing? Just gonna let me get to the car? Well, alright then. Don't mind if I do. Oh. Okay then. I can go two ways. No idea which one's the right way. Oh, I rejected on screen. Never mind. Does not appear to be a page near the chapter scars, so I'm not going to do it. There's line over there. That's probably suppose I can leave the car. Okay. Rifle, more bullets, always a good thing. Is there an option for this? Some games have an option for that. Let me see. No. Dang it. No. Some games let you choose whether or not you want them to automatically shift to whichever weapon you just picked up. Oh, I can switch cars. Interesting. Although, no. That sounds like a pretty good car. could be lead there, but I'm not there. Oh, we're back. Okay, good. Which means the cabin's somewhere over there. Guess I have to leave the car here. Page. Where is it? Dang it. Where meets Rose? Rose and Rusty. Fire's awake.
When Barry saw the
Did we see
darkness
that?
attack the visitor center,
Yes,
it
we
made
did. Alice fears the dark. Nightingale's arrival.
Agent Nightingale didn't want to be in Bright Falls.
Nope, we've seen that. Torch. Final thoughts. Safe haven of light.
At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light.
Nope, we've seen that. Where is the page we just got?
This was a late goodbye. 13 years after I'd gotten my revenge, it had finally caught up with me.
No idea.
The flare gun was probably the best weapon I could imagine against the dark things I was facing.
I mean, yes, obviously, but... Alright. I see what it's doing. Okay, he's loading one bullet at a time, and if I click too quickly, he won't put... It's not he does his animation and then I've got all the bullets.
It was the kidnapper.
You son of a bitch! Where's my wife?
Enough horseplay, Wake. You deliver the manuscript, and you can have your woman back. Simple as that.
I don't... Listen. I'm gonna need time to finish it. I still need to write the ending. I need a week.
It's not done.
I need a week.
2 days. The old Bright Falls coal mine is nearby. You can find it easy, city boy. The main building, there at noon. You bring the manuscript, you'll get your wife. If not, well, get me?
Yes, I get you.
Okay. Yeah, that's not our cabin. That one's our cabin. Yeah, and now, yes, I'm gonna want actual flares for this.
Barry had talked about birds over the phone.
Or not. Or yes.
Ow! Ow! I am so glad you're here. A couple of them got in here before I blocked the chimney. This isn't normal. These birds are weird. situation is that I'm not allergic to birds. Shoot! Oh, crap.
They're gone!
Hey, Al. I'm sorry for thinking you were having a psychotic episode, man.
I sent Barry to the town to ask around about a man fitting the kidnapper's description. He'd go through the archives of the local paper. Perhaps he could learn something. Anything about the island and the cabin that had disappeared. The man wanted a manuscript. I had to try to write him one to get Alice back.
2 days.
For me, the supernatural had always been nothing but a metaphor for the human psyche, a tool to use in writing fiction. Now, it was happening for real, and I couldn't put a single word on paper.
Barry Wheeler speaking.
This is Rose.
Rose?
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Oh, you sweet, brilliant girl.
Could you and Mr. Wake come get them? I live in the trailer park outside the town.
We'll be
Perfectly
there in
normal
less than an
voice.
hour.
I know.
See you soon.
Have a great day. Hope you come back soon. Welcome to the
Oh Dear Diner.
Good girl.
Same woman who gave us the key in the beginning of the game.
Come here. Pretty please, can you tell me where I am? You, won't you say something? I need to get...
Previously on Alan Wake, Alice has been kidnapped.
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife again.
I can't tell anyone except my agent Barry.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head.
The ransom is a manuscript I supposedly wrote that's coming true before my eyes.
It happened just the way it was on that page. So dark.
I have found only a few scattered pages.
I want the entire manuscript.
The deadline is in 2 days.
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Good girl.
Not sure what
How the hell did she
darkness
get her
plan
hands on the
is there.
manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here, Agent Nightingale.
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff. Let's make this quick, huh?
Help you folks? Name's Randolph. I'm the manager.
We're looking for Rose. Works as a waitress down at the diner.
Rose, sure. Nice girl. Who wants to know?
I'm Alan Wake.
The writer, huh? I heard on the radio you were visiting. Well, I'll show you her trailer. That Rose, she's a nice girl. Always pays her rent on time.
As I was saying, Al, I found all sorts of weird stuff from the local newspaper's archives. This place is crazy. Disappearances, mysterious deaths, urban legends come true, and get this, most of this stuff takes place around Cauldron Lake.
Well, you ain't wrong, mister. The Indians thought the lake was a doorway to the underworld. I'm the God-fearing type myself. I don't hold with that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, there was an island there owned by a guy called Thomas Zane. Now, some of the articles I found about him make him out to be a famous writer, but I ran a bunch of searches, couldn't find a single thing he wrote. Zane was heavily into diving, so much so that the place came to be called Diver's Isle. But the volcano under the lake erupted in 1970, and Zane went down with the island.
Yeah, how about that? It was there in the morning, as if it had fallen from the sky. But it would take a tornado to lift something like that. We're damn lucky it didn't crush any of the trailers.
Indeed. Ooh, thermos.
Come on, mister. I'll take you to Rose's trailer.
Come on, AI. You can do your thing. You're allowed to walk. I'll catch up.
It gets better. A local girl, Barbara Jagger, drowned in Cauldron Lake just a week earlier. They were lovers.
Sure, Jagger's a local spook story. The Scratching Hag comes for you in the dark. Childish stuff like that.
Anyway, Al, I'm just getting to the best part. All of the articles about this stuff were written by Cynthia Weaver. I asked around, and she's that crazy bag lady you met.
The one who keeps
What, the
changing
lamp
the
lady?
bulbs.
She can be a little loopy, but she's not homeless or anything.
Yeah, anyway, she knew both Jagger and Zane before they both died, and she had some kind of a breakdown.
Okay. But, cool story, bro. Okay, never mind.
Just follow me. It's not far.
I'm aware, buddy. It's that all of the other trailers don't have actual doors, and this one had, so I thought maybe, you know. Do we go into this one or something else? Something else. Alright, then let's try this. Nope. Guess I can't explore the trailers. Which makes sense. Super necessary detour. All right.
Well, mister, this here's Rose's trailer. You mind me asking what you want with her?
We're just here to talk to her, pal.
Welcome to... Oh dear, Mr. Wake. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah,
Rose, you have my
completely sounds
manuscript?
like her. Yep,
Oh. Oh yes. Yes. Please, come in.
Hey, this is really good.
yep. Probably spiked.
Rose,
Yes,
my manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry. She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al? Al, what's... Oh...
Barry! What?
But there was a thermos on the... Okay, maybe when I wake up.
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on.
How about not driving if you don't need to keep riding?
Back to work, boy.
I felt nauseous, hungover. Only anger kept me going.
I can't tell reality from dream anymore, but it seems I have an imaginary editor to help me. She's an old woman in a funeral dress. I call her Barbara Jagger. She's very strict. I'm writing faster and faster. My manuscript is being heavily revised. The edits are getting very aggressive, and each day there's less of me and more of her. I hate it, but I know she's right. She promises me I can save Alice this way. She knows more of this than I do. About the complex incantation I'm attempting. About this place. She's worked with another writer under similar circumstances, Thomas Zane. The genre of the story seems to be shifting. It's turning into a horror story. I'm getting close. I can feel it.
Rose took a day from me. I had less than 12 hours left to meet the kidnapper. All I could do was get Barry into the car, work something out once I got on the road.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner. What can I get you today? Coffee?
I couldn't work up much hate for Rose. Something had used her to get to me and left its mark.
First refill is free. Milk and sugar on the counter there. Would you like to hear today's specials? Thank you. A nice day. Come back soon.
Barry was out of it. He was way too heavy to carry.
You're right. I deserve more money. So handsome.
My gun and flashlight were gone. I'd have to find a way to get Barry into the car as quickly as possible. There was no time to waste. Mr. Randolph liked Rose. That little smile she had. How she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer. But those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble. And they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station.
Right. Sheriff, we said we were going to get there quickly. Probably not happy about that.
I just stepped outside to catch a breath of fresh air, and let me tell you, the weather's getting heavy. Nights like this make me especially glad I'm here talking to you and not home in bed. Once the weather takes a turn like this, I can't sleep at all. It's all tangled bed sheets and dark thoughts, punctuated by the occasional plunge into nightmare. Is it just me? Well, perhaps it is. But I hope I can make the night a little bit easier to get through. Caller, you're on KBF FM.
Hey, Pat, it's Walt Snyder.
What's on your mind, Walt?
Well, I am the way you are, but, well, I can't sleep either, you know? I just been staring out the window here, trying to make sense of it all, but, I ain't been drinking either, you know?
Well, you sound like a man with a problem, Walt.
I had argument with Danny, and, then I got in trouble with the law, and, I'm just, well...
I heard something like that, Walt.
Yeah, well, Danny's my best friend, and, they let me on bail today, and now I'm just alone here at the window, waiting. Man, and there's something in the air tonight, man.
I was just outside looking up at the sky above our broadcast tower thinking the same thing. What are you waiting for, Walt?
I don't know. Something's gonna happen. I think I better go.
Well, Walt, maybe...
No, thanks, Pat.
Well, Good luck to you, Walt. Hang in there. Let's take a little break, folks. This weather's really something else, huh?
How can I be sure?
Had a bit of a Welcome to Night Vale vibe on that one. Let's go to the weather, and then the music starts. If y'all aren't getting the reference, by the way, Welcome to Night Vale is awesome and absolutely worth your time. Why does that sound like... There was a sound. Thinking I'm gonna have to potentially fight the guy. He's just there waiting. Okay. I'm making up.
Oh, you're gonna get it now.
I hope.
God knows what you've done to that poor girl. This is Agent Nightingale, FBI! Get him up, Hemingway! You're under arrest! You move a muscle, I'll unload right in your goddamn face! Stay right where you are, Spillane!
This guy's a madman.
What are? I'm standing right here, you goddamn maniac!
And
I
suddenly,
hated to leave Baron
manhunt.
behind, but there was no way I'd miss my appointment with the kidnapper.
Give it up, Mr. Wake. Come on. Take it easy on him.
Get after it! Don't let him get away! Move it! Move it! Move it! I'll have your shot if you let him get away!
I mean, like, bunch of cars and helicopters. Despite the fact that we're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I get that it's the FBI. I suppose that makes sense.
Okay, men, keep your eyes peeled. He's gonna try to make it through here.
Damn!
It's a bit ironic.
Stop! He was right there!
Using flares against me.
God damn it, where did he go?
And flashlights.
He's gone! Come on, guys! We need to head him off!
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes.
The Rockstars is a reference to the two guys in the diner. Not gonna say more than that, but he's pissed off. I think.
Come in, Agent Nightingale. This is Sheriff Breaker. Over.
Nightingale, over.
What on earth is going on? My deputies tell me you fired at Wake, and he didn't have a gun. You almost hit a civilian instead. Over.
Sheriff, Wake's running. I'm giving chase. I don't have time for this.
Well, make the time. You can't just go shooting at people in my town. Over.
And this is...
All units are advised that the suspect may be armed. Approach with caution. James out.
the brilliance of Alan Wake. That's where it really starts. Like, it's not the fight, it's not necessarily even the story, it's just this weird feeling, Cthulhu-esque feeling of fighting against this thing, right? Like, now the darkness is acting more directly. Just the fact that I'm trying to escape these people and she's felling trees, she's pushing cars, like, this is really well done and more frightening to me than any monster could ever be. Like, I'm feeling like I'm up against this strange presence that I can feel what it's doing, but I can't see it. I can't corner it. I can't fight back. It's just there, and it's ripping off trees, and it's after me. And it's one of the first instances where you really start feeling that.
Rose didn't know how the strange old lady got in her trailer, and she looked wrong somehow. The woman showed her teeth in an approximation of a smile and traced a finger down Rose's cheek. "Pretty girl," she said. Rose felt as if she was falling asleep, but her knees didn't buckle. The crone spoke in a whisper, her words ice cold and dark in Rose's ear.
And that's really what I remember about this game more than anything else.
Search the area. Stay sharp. This way. Over here.
She's going to town on them. Because essentially, she needs me. She needs Alan.
This horror
awake,
was everywhere I
awake,
went,
sorry,
circling
alive.
me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
Which kind of makes it weird that she's been trying to kill me all this time with the monsters and everything, but whatever.
I've lost contact with most of the men you assigned to me. It's Wake's doing.
Wait,
No, it's
are you
not.
seriously telling me that geek writer just took out my deputies? Are you kidding? I mean, have you seen this guy? He wears a tweed jacket. Over.
He's the guy we're chasing. If it's not him, who then? Bigfoot? Over.
I don't know yet, but I'm not in the habit of jumping to conclusions. That tends to come back and bite you in the ass. Out.
Also not explain why the FBI is here at all. Looking forward to that explanation.
You on the ground. Hold it right there. There's nowhere to run. Freeze!
I was expecting this to be a much more complicated segment where I would have to dodge the helicopter's light. But yeah, Agent Nightingale, please explain to the sheriff how me, a Ryder, took down a helicopter. Go for it, please. I'm waiting. Ooh. It's nice that they put it there, but it would have been more interesting if there had been something to actually see.
I could see the lights of the radio station in the distance.
Yeah. Some light over there too.
This is James. Mulligan, Thornton, come in. Over.
Thornton here. James, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything. Why, they were... Hey, Mulligan, what are you doing? Come on.
Sit down and give me that. James, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which, that Fed had a pretty distinctive whiff of Otis Scotch about him, if you know what I mean. Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in to take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The, Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over. Oh, yeah, I'll bet he does. Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine. Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without a light.
Conveniently, there's a huge ass frickin' spotlight right there. That's perfectly safe, right?
The old generator conked out. I'd have to see if I could fix it and try again.
Okay, so I have to do the quick. Sparks everywhere. That's... Oh, weird. Sparks disappeared when I get close, but fine, whatever. Next to that whole ass huge spot feels like it's the safest place in the forest. I'd want to stay there. But we gotta save our wife, so. Flashlight, there we go. And was saying earlier, we finished the episode with full flashlights, and now full batteries. I mean, and now we're back to just 5.
It took me a moment to recognize the flashbang grenades. They were an ideal weapon for my situation.
Team 1, come in. Over. Team 1, this is Sheriff Breaker. Report. Over. Team 2, come in. I need a report. Over. Come on, guys. Talk to me. Come in, please. Over.
Yeah. I mean, I get it in this case as a survival horror. There is some interest to controlling what you have in terms of weapons and when. But it still sucks. Makes it seem like being careful is pointless. Damn it. Trying to conserve my ammo and all of that just doesn't really do anything, right? Because I'm gonna lose it. Again, really? I'm just trying to get my page. Oh god, I didn't even kill everyone. Okay, let's read the page first.
Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn in black and gray crayons. The old lady had promised her that all her wishes would come true. She would be Alan Wake's muse. She was smiling so hard it hurt her face. She crushed a bottle full of sleeping pills into the coffee. Deep down inside, she was screaming in terror.
That's interesting. Like, because clearly her possession of Rose is not the same as everyone else she's possessing, who have lost their minds and are just trying to kill me and everything, and they have this darkness around them. Rose didn't have that. So that one. Sheriff, sadly. I'm feeling potentially. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And I'm running out of flashbangs. I'm also running out of HP. Hopefully I'm gonna get more flashbangs here. Wait a bit. See if this is a safe space where I can heal. Nope. Alright, I should have run. See, I was dodging there. Didn't count. Just fighting against my stem constantly. Gods. I got turned around. With all of these slowdowns constantly, it's difficult. Where are my gems? Look at
I hoped Maine could lend me a car to get to the coal mine.
Oh, why, hello, Lorna. What do you have for us?
Yeah, it was damn close, I agree. Which, I guess is what they were going for, and it's like, why well done, even though it's annoying. The inventory thing can be used to good effect. This was that to a certain point, but still.
Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in. Folks, I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone calm down.
Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him.
Judas Priest!
What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a car.
I'll get you yet, even if it kills me. You hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
I had fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going. I'd have to lose the cops and find my own way to the mine. Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale shook his arm free, marched out. His cheeks burned with rage and humiliation.
Good. Should be humiliated. Okay, so same button. Okay, but I've only got 2 flares. Not as cool an effect as you think it is, Dan. It just means I can't see what I'm doing, and I get turned around. Did I get a gun again? Oh shit, okay, I got a gun again. I'm going somewhere in that direction.
There was no sensible reason for the power company work lights to be here. It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use.
Sure. Specifically need to stand. controls to take in. Okay. Oh, this is just for that? That was not worth the trouble. Okay. Have a good night, man. See you soon.
Sarah
Don't
trusted
know
her
when.
gut,
We have no
and her
plans,
gut
but
said
see you
Agent
soon.
Nightingale was an asshole.
Thanks for joining us.
He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers.
And
Where was
shot
Alan
everyone
Wake?
all the time.
What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say.
Let's reload all of our guns.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. He keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me. The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again.
I would appreciate more flashbangs, so yes, let's go take a look at what's in here. Bullets, okay, that's useful. Ooh, a shotgun bullets. Flare, batteries. Not everything I asked for Christmas, but good vibes, good vibes. Hey, Paradox, cool to see you. Don't know if you've... Hello, hello. That answers it. I hadn't seen you yet, so... I was wondering if you would show up. You
I could see a railway
bit.
bridge up ahead, and a warehouse of some sort on the opposite
I'll try
shore.
to catch you up after this.
I hoped I could find a car from there.
So, long story short, we met with the kidnappers who want us to bring in the manuscript in exchange for our wife. And we couldn't do that because, well, the manuscript doesn't exist yet. So, they gave us 48 hours to finish writing it, and we lost a whole day because the lady from the diner, Rose, called Barry and said, "Oh yeah, I've got your manuscript right there." Because remember, we lost a whole week, right? So we don't remember if
The
we wrote
darkness
the
that
whole
was
thing or not.
pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
So we went to meet up with Rose, and she drugged us, making us lose a whole day. So now, in theory, we're out of time, but at least the game keeps saying we're out of time, even though technically we still have 24 hours. I'm a bit confused. But we're trying to make it to the rendezvous point. Wow, there's so many weird shit happening. I can't keep up. Let me try to go further ahead. Safe spot to regenerate. Music's gone. Okay, seems better. So we're trying to reach the spot where the kidnappers have told us to meet them. Even though, once again, we're technically 24 hours early. So I'm just extremely confused about that, but doesn't matter. And so the darkness seems to want us to finish the manuscript too, which makes you wonder why it's trying to kill me constantly, but what do I know about extra-dimensional weird, crazy entities? But here's one thing I wanted to delve back into. Like, now the darkness seems to possess objects instead of people. And last week I said we would talk about that again, because there was this bulldozer-type machine that moved on its own. And we're going to delve more into it later when we get into Control, but it's one of the things that intrigues me about these entities, because we've met a few and we're going to meet a couple more as we go, and I like to understand their concepts more, like what they can and cannot do. Like this one easily possesses people as well as objects, but the hiss in Control doesn't seem to possess objects. And yeah, maybe I lost another day too, somewhere along the way. It's possible, or maybe we slept 2 days. Could absolutely be. I don't know. It felt like it was the same day though, because the guy, because we have these texts we can read, and there was one page that was about him from his perspective, and he called the cops because we'd stayed there long past her bedtime, and now it's night, so it feels like it's the same night that she drugged us, but still, no matter. Maybe the game skipped a day before we got to Rose and wasn't super clear about telling you that. I'm not sure. Fair, but it's still killing me. If I don't dodge these things, I keep dying. So I can understand how that could be what she wants me to be in that headspace when I'm writing the manuscript. That could make sense if she didn't go the extra mile and kill me. But then again, you know, maybe it is trying to scare me and is just going too far. Who knows? Because we know she can get worse. We know if she really wanted me dead, I would be dead. Because a bit earlier on, there is this FBI agent who's running after me. Something Nightingale is his name. I forget his first name. And he's just wrong in his head. He's just like shoots me on sight all the time. And everyone around him are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, they're civilians. Stop shooting, you madman. And while there was this manhunt for Alan Wake in the forest, you could see the darkness was actually protecting Alan Wake. She was going all out on these agents who were trying to stop me and shoot me. Like smashing cars, ripping out trees. It was pretty awesome. One of my favorite parts of the game. And there's going to be more of that later on in the game. And we're starting to see it as well here, where she's not going completely all out, but she's being more intense than just sending these guys. Like she's throwing parts of the bridge at me and that kind of thing. So it's really cool and making you feel like you're being you're fighting against these cosmic things. And that's the other thing, right? It's making you think, like, how many other creatures there could be and how many other themes you could explore. Like the darkness. Okay. It whatever it can wrap around, it can possess. That's the concept. This physical darkness. Sometimes there were these blotches of liquid that were darkness that I can destroy with my flashlight. If that wraps around someone or something, it possesses it. That's the concept of the darkness. The hiss is a sound. It's a sound. It's a vibration. Whatever the vibration can affect, it can possess. So it's usually more people and not really things. But it's making you think, right? What other kind of entities could exist out there? What could be their limitations? And when I was thinking about what I would do if I were to develop a game, a tabletop RPG, based on this license, and God knows I wish I had the rights to do it, because I would have so much fun inventing other entities like this, like the maybe one, because it's already like one of the most interesting bits in this game is right here, right now, when objects are the danger. And that's something you don't see often. And couldn't we have an entity that's all about specifically possessing objects? Like pulling it out there, like the gremlin, whatever. That makes no sense, but let's find a better name for it. But still, like, this entity cannot possess people. It can just possess cars. It can possess buildings, just things that it can control, affect, wreck, or use even their natural feature, like let's say a car. The car can try ramming into you and that kind of thing. Could be a very interesting, very different kind of antagonist for, let's say, another game in this universe or a tabletop RPG. And there are other entities in my brain from that train of thoughts. And yeah, I really wish that tabletop RPG game existed, man. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Absolutely. Okay, let me try to continue going. Oh yeah, we had a manuscript page. We're almost done for tonight as well. Just a couple minutes more to go. Probably I'll keep playing
I
until the
slammed
next
the door shut
checkpoint.
right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left. No guilt either. Not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me.
And like, even the darkness.
As a teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate
Very
objects
toxic.
that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
It's actually a theme because there was this author called Thomas Zane who lived on the island where my cabin used to be. And he was another author that the darkness tried to do this with. She was his muse, and he was writing a script for her. Essentially, the story would become true, just like it's happening now. And if I understand correctly, I think the idea is for her to get a writer to write a story that she would make come true, and that would free her, I guess, or something like that. I don't know yet. That's my theory at this point. And back then, this author, Thomas Zane, had a love interest. I forget her name, but that was many years ago. And she died about a week before Thomas Zane did, when a volcano erupted. I mean, of course. Sure, these things happen every day in America, right? Doesn't matter. That's what happened. And he died on the island. So you're saying toxic relationship, but it's literally what happened with Zane, because she possessed his girlfriend at the time, and kind of still does, because she's still in that body somehow, despite the fact that she's known to be dead. Because the old lady we saw at the diner, the one that gave me the keys in chapter 1, that's her. And I guess the checkpoint is right there. Checkpoint reached. Oh, heavy duty flashlight. Hell yeah. Oh, I like that. Still gotta watch that movie. Okay, we should probably stop here before we get into this whole new section that's gonna take a while to explore. Yeah, I think that's gonna be that for tonight. Just had a checkpoint. We've got to make sure next week not to forget to pick up the heavy duty flashlight if it hasn't saved. I really hope it does. But yeah, that'll be that. Sorry you just got in Paradox, but that's what I'm trying to do. I try to do 7 to 10, so I'm gonna stay true to that. Also, vacation's over, so I want to make sure that I get a good night rest and I can start working again well, like be in good shape for getting back into a working mood, I guess. So well, everyone, thank you very much for coming. I know it was a bit quiet at the end there, but we had some interesting Star Wars conversation tonight, of all things. It was pretty nice. Looking forward to more of that, I guess, next week as I continue watching Book of Boba Fett. We'll see where that goes. I hope y'all had a good time, and look out next week. Come back next week for more Alan Wake. I feel like we're pretty advanced in chapter 3 already, so we're probably going to be able to finish chapter 3 and have a good chunk of 4. So there are 6 chapters in the game. Looks like we're going to take about 4 or 5 weeks to do it. I don't think we'll be using the whole 6 weeks to do it. We'll see how it turns out. So thanks for coming, everyone. It was fun to play again with all of you, and see you all in a week.